Let's go ahead and bring our awareness to our breath. And as we breathe in, let's breathe in the breath of the trees and the plants. And as we exhale, breathing out so much gratitude and thanks for their gift of life. Just breathing in and breathing out. And then let's go ahead, take another inhalation and maybe just letting go. Any of the tension, the worries, any projects that you may be holding on to, just go ahead, a nice inhale and then exhale, breathing out. Good, and as we do this, let's go ahead and with every inhalation, with every breath that we take in, let's bring back to us any energy that may be scattered. People, places, projects, things, and just call it back home to its rightful home inside of you. Filling ourselves up with your light. Go ahead and fill yourself up with your beautiful light, your energy. Inhaling and exhaling, and then taking a breath all the way down to the soles of our feet. And there's two really beautiful points right on each ball, right in the center of each ball on the soles of our feet. And they're called bubbling springs. And let's go ahead and open those bubbling springs and really draw up that grounding, centering earth energy. And let it flow and really support and nourish us from the inside out. Good. And may we receive the transformation tonight that we each desire. And so whenever you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes, and we'll go ahead and get started. So again, I'm really, really excited to be here, excited to share with you what I've learned along my journey of opening up to what it means to really trust in my voice, to really speak my truth. And tonight is really about remembering the wise women and men that we are, that our voices are sacred, our wisdom is essential, and that our truth it's really meant to be seen, felt, heard, and experienced. So your wisdom, it is medicine for these wildly uncertain times. You know, now more than ever, we need women and men who are ready to courageously really speak their truth. And you know, tonight is not about becoming something new. It's really about remembering the woman that you have always been, and setting her free. It's about, you know, stepping out of the shadows, which I personally know can be really, really scary. But it's really true, isn't it, that when any one of us speaks from the deepest place within us, you know, from our true, authentic self, it strengthens the pathway for all of us to do the same. And so tonight, it's really about breaking cycles. And when any one of us breaks a cycle of repression, we make it really easy for the next woman, the next man, to do the same. And so, as you probably know, there is tremendous power in coming together in a group like this, like we're doing today. Our intention, you know, is magnified, and the support that we receive from the group energy, it's really magnified. So this webinar tonight, it's really about, you know, learning to stop second guessing ourselves. It's really about trusting our inner knowing and speaking with greater ease, freedom, love, and courage. And it's really about understanding that your authentic voice, second only to your presence, is your greatest source of your power. So, my intention tonight is to help us understand that why speaking our truth can be really challenging. It can be even scary, even when we know what our heart wants to say. I know that before I softened my approach to myself, meaning that I really stopped the inner critic and, even sometimes really bullying myself, I would often ask myself, what is wrong with me? Why can't I just simply speak my truth? I know what I want to say, and it would be really, really challenging for me, and I would get very frustrated and impatient with myself. And so I hope that after tonight you realize that if you are having challenges, speaking your truth, it is to no fault of your own whatsoever. And that now, especially now, we are so fully supported to release the fears and conditioning that have kept us small. And these are the fears and the conditioning that we've actually inherited. So I am really, really excited to guide you in a sacred activation tonight to really free and open up the channel that supports your voice. And I have this really simple Qigong movement called the fountain that helps to anchor and integrate the activation that you will receive tonight. And for those who may not know, Qigong is just a really simple moving practice. It combines movement with breath and intention. So yeah, a really beautiful practice that you can take home with you to help anchor this in. And so, as you listen tonight, be thinking about opportunities where you could use your voice, maybe in the next week or 2 or 3. Is there an interaction that you may have been avoiding where you could speak your truth? Is there someone that you could become even more vulnerable with? Is it speaking truth to yourself? And so the work that we do tonight, it's going to really open up our creative energy too. And so is there a creative project that you've been putting aside that won't let go of you? We'll circle back to that at the end of the webinar because I'd love to hear where you're thinking like, yeah, here's where I'm going to really speak my truth. Here's where I'm going to really open up my creative energy even more. So, and different points along the way, I would love to hear your thoughts, what you're thinking. If you have any questions or comments, we can keep this pretty informal. And so, why is it that so many of us have carried vows of silence? Sometimes we soften our truth so that others will feel more comfortable, or sometimes we even swallow our words to keep the peace, and we question our intuition even though we know deep down that it is right. Maybe we hide our wisdom because somewhere along the way we were told we were too much, we were too powerful, we were too emotional. So, we've learned to suppress our voice for fear of being seen, persecuted, or even losing our lives. These are legitimate fears that we've carried over from past lifetimes. And so, as I mentioned before, now is the time to really open up and really free our voices, to really step in to our full creative power. And tonight's activation and Qigong practice and sharing are going to really, really help with that. And so before we get into the activation, I want to share with you a little bit about my personal story, okay? So perhaps like many of you, I was born incredibly shy. It was really hard for me to open my mouth, and I didn't even really start speaking fully until around, the age of 6, something like that. And that theme carried over into my lifetime, throughout my life. And I remember years ago, I worked for Greenpeace International. And at that time, I was leading one of the most innovative campaigns around the world. And I remember sitting at this high-powered strategy meeting with 30 different, powerful leaders from around the world. And everyone wanted to know, okay, what was what was my secret? What's my strategy? Why is this, working? And for the life of me, I could not open my voice and share. Every time I tried, my heart would start pounding, my face would turn bright red, and I was unable to share. And I made a vow at that time. I told myself that I will learn how to speak my truth with wisdom and courage, and stand tall and firm and speak my truth with wisdom and grace. And, over the years, I've been in different situations where I have had those growth opportunities to do just that. And so if you would have told me, like, 30 years ago that I would be sharing, what I've learned along the way, I would have said, you got to be kidding. There's no way that I would be doing this. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to sharing this. Any questions, comments, or insights so far? It's a relatively small enough group where, if you have any questions or comments, just go ahead and let me know. Or has anyone had any similar experiences at all? Yeah, good.
Um, yeah, I think I can, s- well, first of all, I'm just having a hard time with the volume and trying to find it, and I can't really hear you too well, but I some of the experiences I have or had is just not knowing. It just feels like there's two voices in my head taking me two different places,
Yes.
and
Mm-hmm.
I often don't know which one I'm supposed to listen to or if any at all, and it really just drives me crazy, and I sometimes find that it's hard to even just it all go, which is what I've been dealing with lately, is just doing a practice of letting go of
That's
like all of the things in my head.
That's beautiful, Maria. Thank you so much for sharing. And I think what you shared is a lot of us have felt similarly. And so what you're experiencing is a really common experience. And, the invitation here right now is to really invite the truth of who we are to really lead the way, right? So there's a part of us, right? One could call it our small self, or the one who doubts, that sometimes really wants to lead the way. And often that part of us is couched inside of our mind. And then there's a greater, deeper truth of who we are. One could even call it our soul, that is ready to step up and really take the lead. And so, part of tonight is a really allowing the sacred to lead, and letting that the ego part, the smaller self, to take a back seat. We still need the ego to help us, but to take a back seat and to let the sacred part of who we are lead. And so, and that's a practice. So thank you for sharing that, Maria. I know it's really common for so many of us. Okay, so what I'd love to do right now, and then I'll check in and see if there are any other questions or comments or insights. What I'd love to do is open up the sacred activation for you all. And before I do that, I want to share a little bit of background. So our intention tonight is to clear and activate a fountain of liquid light that to flow freely within us so that we can speak our truth with ease, grace, courage, and love. And this is not some imaginary fountain. There is literally a fountain of liquid light that flows within all of us. And we were born with it. It is part of our light body, and it is called, I love this, it's called an extraordinary meridian. And it's one of 8 rivers of light, one of 8 rivers or fountains of light that flow within us and really deeply nourish us. And so tonight we're focusing in on the extraordinary meridian that originates within our wombs, and it moves up through the central core of our body, and it opens up into our mouths. It rises up like a beautiful fountain. And when this meridian is activated, our throat opens up in the best possible way, and it's really easy for us to speak our authentic truth. So where is our womb, our uterus located? So it's located about 2 inches above the pubic bone. And you could say it's located in the 2nd chakra area, but it really stands on its own. And you might even say it's a separate chakra all of its own, but even that is too limiting for the vast nature of our wombs. And whether or not you have a physical womb or not, the magic, mystery, and infinite creativity encoded in your womb's energetic field remains fully intact. It's all still there. And if you're a man, you still have the equivalent of the creative energy that is the equivalency of the womb, sometimes called the hara for a man. So here's the beauty of this. In its original state, our wombs are like shimmering pools of living, flowing, crystal clear, life-giving water, just sparkling with vitality. And when this sacred pool is resourced and clear, when there is enough oomph, enough of our own life force energy, that fountain flows with vitality and strength. And it becomes really easy for us to speak our truth and be who we are. And so, we can actually look at, I want to show you the anatomical similarities between the womb and the throat. I find this really fascinating, so I'm going to share this with you. Can you see it okay? Yeah? You can't see it? Okay, let's see. Okay, let me just do this. Yeah,
I
you
can
can
see it
see it
now.
now? Okay, great. Okay, let me just pull it back up here. There it is. Yeah, good. Okay, excellent. So I find this fascinating. I mean, look at this, the throat and the uterus. I mean, they are, so similar in their shape, the tissues and their function, and they both contract, they both expand. And you can even try a little experiment right now. You can try clenching your teeth and see if you can feel a similar contraction in your pelvis and in your womb. There's that channel that connects both of them, and they are both portals of creation and birthing into this world, whether it's for children and or creative projects. So there's a lot of similarities between that. Good, yeah. But that's not all. And I think this is where it gets really, really exciting. And so what happens now is that when our throat chakra is fully activated, when that fountain is rising up completely unimpeded, it automatically activates the fifth layer of our aura. So, what's the big deal about the fifth layer of our aura is the fifth layer of our aura is where our divine purpose resides. And so it's where your soul plan lives. And it's waiting to be activated when the timing is right. So it's where your divine template is. It's what it is that you came here to do. When that is activated, the fullest expression of who you are is easily expressed in all ways, whether that's creatively, through your voice, of course, wherever it may be. And so when it's activated, we move through life with ease and joy, and we become our own authority, and we're no longer looking outside of ourselves for external validation. And we live in alignment with our personal truth. And what I find pretty amazing is that entire practice, it starts within our wombs. Yeah, so you can see that our wombs are incredibly powerful fields of energy. But here's the thing. This field of energy, it can become diluted and the waters can become stagnant. And there's at least two ways that this can happen. It's, often when other people's energy becomes enmeshed or entangled in this sacred field of our own, or it's when we hold on to unprocessed emotional energy from this or even previous lifetimes. So what can happen is our wombs can become a repository or a container for the energies that are not our own. We may have inherited ancient memories from our ancestors, which are often stored as that unprocessed emotional energy within our wombs. And some of these memories we're not even aware of. Some of these memories, they actually remind us of the truth of who we are, and some were handed down to us as ancestral wounds. And these can include self-limiting beliefs about who we are. They can be handed down through experiences or traumas from this lifetime or previous lifetimes. They can be handed down through social conditioning at school or even at church. And so when that happens, these beautiful sacred waters of our wombs, they can stagnate, they can bog down. And the fountain of that liquid light that we were born with, that's the one that empowers us to speak our truth. It may even stop flowing. And so, when this happens, we forget the truth of who we are. It may even be hard for us to follow through on our dreams, our desires, and we might even feel insecure or even afraid to express, like I said, what we know in our hearts to be true. And we can become really confused about how we really feel. And we can even ask, are these my feelings or am I feeling someone else's? Have I taken on someone else's energy? Is this my anxiety or am I taking on anxiety from the collective field? Is there a self-limiting pattern that I inherited that is surfacing and ready to be cleared? And so it's so important, for us to remember that this insecurity, this fear, if we experience it, the doubt, it's to no fault of our own. We were either taught or we inherited these self-limiting beliefs. And now, the times that we live in now, like I said, we are incredibly supported to release and let go of what no longer serves us. The conditions are ripe to break any cycles that we've inherited that may be holding us back so that we can fully step in to what it is that we came here to do. And that's what this sacred activation is all about. And so, yeah, let me know if you have any questions or comments, insights. If not, I welcome all questions. If not, we'll go ahead and we'll start the activation. But take a moment and let some of this land and see if you do have any questions or comments, insights. Is all this making sense pretty much?
Joan, this is Leslie.
Oh, hey,
And
Leslie.
everyone.
Yeah.
It says Mike, but it's me, and I can't figure out how to turn the picture on. I just wanted to let you know, and the other members, I was unable to have children, and Joan, you know that. And for a long time, I just didn't understand why. I did have a miscarriage, and that was very painful because that was a part of revealing that I wasn't going to be a mom. Since then, I've come to grips with that, and I feel like I have another purpose. But I can't help but believe, as you were talking about this, that there may still be some lingering sadness, trauma, or something else that's all sticky in there. And I mean, it just kind of was, I received that information in that way. So I'm really looking forward to the activation.
Thank you, Leslie, for sharing what you shared, and I want to really encourage you to trust, right? Trust that inner knowing that you have, that sense, that there might be something still, sticky, like you said in there, and that's a really good way to say it. And so what I'm going to encourage all of us to do is to really give ourselves the space tonight to release whatever it is. And as we, I want to share, before we actually begin this process, I want to share with you just a few things before we begin. The first one is to really trust this process. You're here because there's a part of you that on some level knows what's going to unfold tonight. There's a part of you that is really ready to release and let go. And this kind of speaks to what you shared, Leslie, and that is this, that we all have different ways of sensing things. And as I guide you through this, you might just have like a deep knowing, or you might see an image, or you might feel something in your body, and all of this is great. And you may not sense or feel anything at all. And that is okay too. There is no wrong way to do this. And so what I want to really encourage you to do is to set your imagination free. And also, if you feel like you're making this up, great, right? It is our imagination. So really trust it. Energy follows thought. And here's the other thing. Sometimes we don't even have to know what it is that we're clearing. The intention that we'll set together is really, really powerful. And often it's our mind that wants to know exactly what it is that has kept us maybe, stuck, or, our mind wants to figure it all out. Why is this? Why did this happen? And that is actually a way to actually keep us from healing because we're stuck in that mind loop. So, like I said, sometimes you don't even have to know what it is that we're clearing. The intention that we're going to set is powerful enough. And so what I'd love to do right now is to guide you through this activation. And then at the end of it, you'll have if you'd like, you'll have a little bit of time just to sit with it or to journal a little bit, whatever feels right for you. Maybe we'll do a little sharing. And then I'll share with you the exercise, the moving part called the fountain. Sound good? All sound good? Yeah? Okay, great. All right. So you're welcome to keep your video on or off, whatever feels right for you for this activation. So let's go ahead and let's begin as we often do with the breath. Taking a nice inhalation and exhalation, breathing in and out. And if you'd like, you can quietly say this intention to yourself along with me. It is my sacred intention to clear and fully open the extraordinary meridian that flows from my womb up into my mouth so I can freely express my truth with ease, grace, and courage. So just continuing to breathe in and out. And so imagining your womb as a shimmering pool of crystal clear, sparkling water. This is the truth of who you are. And held deep within the primordial living waters of your womb is the source of your authentic, sacred essence. Invite yourself to look through the eyes of your wise woman within. She is pure love, pure divine intelligence. She is you, vibrating at a different frequency. And as you look through her eyes, notice without any judgment, do you see any cloudy areas within this sacred pool? Does the water feel stagnant anywhere? Maybe there are dark areas entangled with weeds. Has the water dried up anywhere? You were born with a fountain at the center of your womb. How strong is that fountain flowing? Is there anything blocking the flow? Just looking through the eyes of your wise woman within with all love and compassion. And if any of this holds true for you, these areas may represent times in your life when you were told you were meant to be seen and not heard. Or you were taught to stuff your feelings. They may represent ancestral wounds that you inherited from your mother, your grandmother, great-grandmother, or beyond. women who were perhaps told they had no worth. You may have even taken a vow in this lifetime that you would never step into the fullest expression of who you are because in past lifetimes you were persecuted, kicked out of the tribe, lost connections to family and friends, or maybe even lost your life. It wasn't safe for you to speak your truth, so you chose to stay in the shadows. So the times, they are now ripe to release these patterns and to break these cycles, to really fully open up your creative energy. So using the power of your breath, with every exhalation, begin to release anything that keeps you from fully expressing the true light of who you are. This is your time to speak your truth, your time to be the fullest expression of who you truly are. So if you'd like, go ahead and place your hand on your womb. Let your wise woman within take the lead, breathing in and then exhale. Just letting go. Letting go and releasing all self-limiting beliefs, any conditioning that keeps you small, any traumas from this or previous lifetimes that you're ready to release and let go of. Releasing any times when you've had to silence yourself, cutting yourself off from your own wisdom or hiding the light of your true being. Letting go of any contracts or agreements that you may have inherited from your ancestral line that kept you quiet or kept you hidden. You can hand these over now and release them. All of them are made null and void. So let's go ahead and release and let go of any and all energy that's connected to any of these experiences through all dimensions, planes, times, levels of consciousness, and beyond the beyond. Releasing and transmuting it all back into the source of all light. You no longer have to hold on to this. Setting yourself free. And as we inhale, breathing in all the love and support. Breathing in the truth of who you are. And begin to notice, imagine your womb, the sparkling waters within it, restored to its original nature, the sacred waters of who you truly are. And with every breath, imagine, sense, feel your womb being restored to its original nature as that shimmering pool of crystal clear, sparkling water. And now even the fountain begins to grow stronger, rising higher and higher within you. The waters of who you truly are, unencumbered. Invite that light to flow up through your solar plexus, your heart, and as it does, releasing and letting go of any blocks. Inviting that fountain, the light, this is the light of your own essence and wisdom to flow up now into your throat, cleansing and clearing all parts of your throat, your vocal cords, your neck, your thyroid. Let the light of who you truly are flow into your mouth. And if you feel the call, open your mouth as you exhale, making any sounds that you want to make. And notice how it feels to have your true essence, the light of who you are, flow out of your mouth. You have a truly beautiful, unique sound. Let that sound, the true note of who you are, let it be expressed. And even if you feel like it, gently touch your throat, your mouth, your jaw, as if you were blessing it, just sending so much love into these areas. And now, invite the light of who you are to flow from your mouth out into your aura, all the way out to the fifth layer of your aura. The light knows exactly where to go. Don't even give it a second thought. The fifth layer of your aura, where your divine purpose resides, where your soul plan is, where your full creativity is ignited. And as you do this, remember these truths. You are sacred just because you exist. You are worthy just because you are. It is safe to be who you are. Your very presence is a gift. The wisdom that you carry within you, the wisdom that you've accumulated from all your lifetimes, it is meant to be heard first and foremost by you. It is safe for you to speak your truth with ease, grace, courage, and love. To simply be who you are. So invite this truth to flow into every cell of your being. Honor yourself as you stand in your full power and your full light. So you've now activated this extraordinary meridian. So let's make this matter. Ask yourself, how can I make this activation matter? In what way can I invite myself to speak my truth more? How can I honor all of my feelings even more, all of them? How can I even more joyfully embody what I came here to do in a way that fills me up to overflowing? So, when you're ready, slowly and surely coming back here and now into this present moment, taking all the time that you need, perhaps tapping your thymus with every breath, feeling really fully present. And take some time, if you'd like, to just sit. Maybe you want to journal a moment or two. And then I want to check and see if anyone has anything that they want to share, any question. And if you do, just go ahead, Dina. Yeah. Go ahead and unmute your, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'd like to share that I was silenced a lot as a child, and I know I carry that with me. And even in years of healing through therapy and 12-step recovery, on a cerebral level, I understand, but I still wear a suit of armor, and I know that I'm keeping myself in as much as I'm keeping pain out or keeping more trauma out. So I wanted to share that this morning. I've read spirit animal oracle cards for about 20 years, and I forgot all about this today, this Zoom. And this morning I pulled the Nightingale card, which is healing through voice or song or speech. And I just have sort of carried that with me all day, being aware, like, okay, when's that going to happen, knowing that that's a presence in my day today. And I totally forgot until I got your reminder that this was starting. Isn't that wild?
Oh my gosh, that is
And
such
I've never done any sort of voice healing or expressing myself through like a sound. So it was perfect timing.
Oh, so beautiful, Dina. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, wow. And that is it's so true. So many of us, we've been really silenced and we can go through, a lot of therapy and it can be helpful for sure. But often what happens that energy is literally stored within our body and until we can give our body full permission to release that, and I just love that you received the nightingale, right? It was like on some level there is a part of you that knew. That is just so beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, good. So, this next part, is going to really help us anchor this and integrate it even more into our bodies. Okay. So I'm going to check and see if there's anybody else that would like to share anything. And yeah, is there anybody else? If not, I want to share with you this moving practice.
I'd like to share, Joan. It's
Please.
Leslie.
Yeah.
Um, when I looked at the water and I called it the garden in my womb, I could see the water was murky and there was some debris from long ago, things I probably don't even remember. But I I also was able to connect some of the dots. I think my mother was abused, and I suddenly, stopped thinking and paying attention to my womb, and I was feeling so much in my heart. And I thought, okay, so this is a process. And then I felt so surrounded by light, by helpers and other light beings trying to say, it's time to let it go, and it's time to move on. And so I just want to thank you for this. It's been very helpful for me.
You're so welcome, Leslie. You're so welcome. I'm so glad it was so helpful. Yes. Yes, these are the days of breaking cycles, of letting go, to really clear our physical bodies of whatever that we've been holding on to. And like you said, we may know what it is, we may not, we may have an inkling, but when we set our intention, there is that ability to release and let go. And as we do, there's more space for the light of who we are. This is the time to courageously to remove the masks, to let go of the filters. And that means reassuring that our physical bodies, that it is safe, reassuring our nervous systems that it is safe, and that we understand, and to use all love, compassion, and understanding for wherever we are at. And so let me share with you this movement practice, okay? I'm going to stand up, and this can be done either sitting or standing. And so this movement, you can see me okay, right? Yep. This movement is one of the movements of what is called the Way of the Wise Woman, Qigong Flow, which takes a lot of these ideas and dives more deeply into them. I'll share with you a little bit more about that. Okay. So let me show you how it's done. There's no wrong way to do it, and then I'll guide you through it. And so we bring the backs of our hands together and we connect right to our womb, right there. And there's a real gentle wave in our spine. So it's kind of like just a really gentle wave. And sometimes I see that wave as like a pump. And so imagine right here that we're connecting to that sacred pool of shimmering light that we just cleared. And the fountain is now, rising up. And so this is a way to really anchor and integrate what we just did. So I encourage you to do this movement over the next few days. So we bring the backs of our hands together and we inhale, we connect to that fountain. We bring it up into our mouths and then we open out into our aura, into that fifth layer of our field. Don't worry where it is. The light of who you are knows exactly where it is. And so we inhale and exhale. I'll show you a side view. So we inhale and open up. Inhale and exhale. Good. So look what's happening here. We are standing right in the center of a heart. And so what I'm going to invite us to do is to actually use our voices and to connect with the true, authentic light of who we are. So take a nice inhalation and an exhalation. Let's bring our arms down and just pause a moment. So I'm inviting you to imagine that you're connecting with this fountain of light that carries the true, authentic you, that you're connecting with it and encouraging it to rise up through your core, through your throat, out your mouth, out into your aura, activating that fifth layer of your field. So here we go, and I'm going to invite you to use sound. Use whatever sound comes to you. There's no right or wrong way. So we inhale, and then ah, oh, ah. It is safe for you to be who you are. It is safe for you to speak your truth. The time is ripe for all of us to step into the fullest expression of our creative powers. Take an inhale and then just exhale, imagining the light of who you are flowing out into your field. Let's do that 3 more times. Take a nice inhale, perhaps using your voice any way you want to. Ah. Oh. And then let's bring our hands back to our wombs, knowing that that fountain is still flowing. You've activated it. Let's go ahead. We'll sit back down. All right, beautiful. Any questions or comments on that? How was that? Was that easy to learn? Yeah? Were you able to use your voices? Yeah, right. I remember when I first started doing this, I actually learned like 6 healing sounds, and I would practice them in my office, and this was years ago. And my husband would be around. I'm like, oh my God, I can't open my mouth, right? And it's like, it's not about that, right? It's about really allowing that deep primordial wisdom, the true note of who you are to really come forward and be expressed. And so I invite you to just use that simple movement to anchor in this activation over the next few days. And remember, when we speak our truth, it is about our voice, right? It is about, setting our voice free. But when we speak our truth, it's all versions of who we are. It's our creative power. It's our dreams, our desires, right? It's taking off the masks, right? Good. All right. So the last thing that I wanted to do, we're just about done, is I wanted to share with you a way that if you were interested in expanding this and deepening into this, I am offering a course that is starting next week. And it's called The Way of the Wise Woman Qigong Flow. And I want to share with you, this. Okay. Let's see. Here we go. All right. Can you see that okay? Okay, good. So this is one of my very favorite classes to offer. And it's a 5-week course. And in this course, we learn how to physically merge with our soul's divine feminine essence. I call her the wise woman within. We actually learn how to embody the truth of who we are, and we anchor this truth in with embodied Qigong movement. So, this is a course. It consists of 18 flowing Qigong movements that are each created to help dissolve the perceived separation between us and our soul's divine feminine essence. There's no previous experience required. And so I gave you a little taste of this course today, where there's sacred teachings and activations. Throughout this course, you'll learn the whole 18 flowing movements. And, it's my complete joy to share this course with you, because I've been really toying with this idea. What does it mean to fully embody my soul's divine feminine essence, to fully merge with her, to see the world through her eyes, to feel my heart and hers beat as one, and to let her take the lead, ideally all the time. And I heard my wise woman within say, create a Qigong form to help with your desire to embody me, and then share it with others. And the first thing I said was, what? Who, me? Right? And I kind of put it off to the side. And then I came back to it. And I'm so excited to share this with you. So during this course, you'll be held in this loving field of sacred transformation with a community of kindred souls. And we're going to really activate, because our wise woman within, she is the truth of who we are. So we're going to really activate her presence. We're going to invite her to take the lead. And when we invite her to take the lead, it becomes easy for us to speak our truth. We know what our truth is. It's not, should I do this or should I do that? We're in alignment. We know with what our truth is. And so, so it's 5 courses, 5 classes. One is the Great Remembering, that you are a divine wise woman. And then we'll introduce the first part of the Qigong flow. What does it mean to be in divine feminine flow? What does it mean to speak our truth with ease and grace? We're going to bless and release the outdated versions of who we are. And all of this is done through movement. There's a movement that corresponds to each one of these, and it's really easy to learn. We take a little integration week, and then we talk about the 3 stages of spiritual awakening. and then we celebrate our transformation. These are testimonials of people who already took the class. The class starts next Wednesday, and it's at noon on Wednesdays for Eastern Time. And if there's early bird registration until Sunday, July 12th, where you save $100. And if this feels aligned, I would absolutely love to have you in the course. Either way, I am so grateful that you showed up today. I love sharing this information. And yeah, so any questions at all? Any final comments, questions, or even insights from your experience tonight?
Isn't I I'm just wondering, and I think I know the reason, but I just want to ask anyway.
Sure.
Why is it that you can't do this for free?
Because I want to really honor the time and the commitment and the energy that it took, for me to put together the class. It's a great question, Maria. Really great question. Yeah, there's a lot of videos on my YouTube channel that I do offer for free. But part of my destiny is to really make a living with what I want to really offer, what really lights me up. So it's really honoring the time and the commitment and energy that I put into the course. Great question, though, Maria. Thanks
Which
for asking.
actually
What?
makes me think that maybe I also deserve more from my art too. Like
That's
as far
beautiful, Maria. That's a great insight. That's a that's beautiful. Yes.
I
Mhm.
really have been tortured by not knowing how that works or just
Yes.
feeling like I don't know how it works.
Yes. So, yeah, really great awareness, great insight on your part, Maria. Thank you. Yeah. Who else? Anybody else? Yeah, Dina.
Um, I may have missed this, but how often will there be sessions, and are they all interactive like this, or is it like a web streaming that we
It's
can watch?
it's more interactive, but each session is recorded. And so if you can't make one of the sessions, you receive all of the same benefits. And so we meet for 5 sessions over a
Five
6-week
sessions.
period. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And do we retain access to those recordings?
They're yours to keep.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and then I also have recorded the full 18, movements in one continuous flow. So that's yours to keep. And you also have a manual too. So yeah, yeah,
I have a
Um,
quick
yeah.
question too. Um, and I don't know if you guys can hear me because it looks like my screen froze, but
I can hear.
um,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Um, so we went through this practice and you showed us that movement, and I was just thinking about kind of from here forward,
Hmm.
how we really stay aligned with that feeling and kind of, the work that we've done here tonight is the best way to do that by continuing with the Qigong movement, or are there other things we should think about or do kind of takeaways to kind of stay centered in finding our voice
Yeah,
and continuing to carry that forward?
yeah. Thanks for that question, Allison. The way of the wise woman Qigong flow is one way, to stay in that stream of energy, but that's not the only way, right? There's lots of ways for you to do that. One way is to perhaps make a dedicated practice, maybe 14 days in a row. You take that one movement, the fountain, and you do that maybe for 2 or 3 minutes, right? And you really connect to that fountain within you. and you strengthen it, and you tend to it. It's almost like, tending to a sacred fire, but this is water. But, we want the water to really keep flowing. And then, I like this statement. How do we make this matter, right? Like, how do we make it? Not only how do we make it matter, but how do we bring it into like the 3D world, right? And so, is there an area in our lives where we know we're holding ourselves back? It could be speaking the truth to ourselves. It could be becoming really vulnerable with a loved one. Like, it could be like a creative project. And every time that we do that fountain, we give ourselves the courage and the space to, like, okay, I'm going to exercise my voice. I'm going to give myself the permission to really use my voice now. And every time that we might get nervous, because I understand this, I really understand, like, oh my gosh, really? I've got to open up my mouth and speak my truth, to just hold ourselves with so much love, compassion, and understanding. Because there's a part of us, and I know this for myself, that may be stuck in that, as a 6-year-old or a 10-year-old, where I was taught myself too, to silence my voice. And so it's connecting with that 10-year-old and letting her speak and holding her with so much love. There's a beautiful, I'm going to share with you one more thing too, and then I'll see if there's any other questions or comments. There is a beautiful essential oil that I've been using. It's called, I don't know if you can see it, it's called Unlock, and it's by Sahu Oils, SAHU, oils.com. And they have the most exquisitely beautiful essential oils. And all I do is I take this, I take 3 drops in my fingers, rub it, I smell the beautiful aroma, and then I lovingly place it, anoint myself with it. So essential oils can be really great allies, for us. And one final thing, remember that as we are focusing in on our throat center, the flow originates within our wombs, right? So we keep that fountain flowing. And then every single time that we speak our truth, that we speak from how we are authentically feeling, really honor those feelings and speak our truth, we activate that 5th layer of our field every time we do that. I find that pretty amazing. So yeah. Anybody else have any questions, comments, or insights?
Have a quick
Sure.
insight reflection. I never sang. I refused to sing. This is funny to say in front of you because you know who I'm, my mother. My mother was extremely critical of my singing. And so as a child, I refused to sing and I never did sing until about 2 years ago. I let myself start to sing and it was liberating. And even beyond the singing, just making my own natural, unrestricted sound with my throat was so much more wild and primordial than I expected. It was so much deeper, and it totally reflected how I envisioned myself, like a part of the earth and a wild creature. It was nothing like how I had been, tried to be forced to sing a certain way. But it really showed me how there's in infinite possibilities of what my own sound would be.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that story. That is so inspiring. And that is another really great example of how to take, some of what we explored tonight and to use it. So like finding, like you did, Dina, that primordial note, of who
It's so strange. It's something I would have thought, don't ever do that in front of people. They're going to
Right.
freak out.
Right.
But it's something I can do with the animals and out in the yard. And, I think, oh
Yes.
gosh, when I don't try to train what comes out of my mouth, this
Yes.
is what naturally comes.
I love it. Free, unfettered. Yes. That is how we are meant to be. Yes. Thank you. All right, everybody, let's go ahead and bring this to a little close here, okay? So let's just take some nice breaths in and out. And as we inhale, feel the breath flow through our throats, through the back of our throats. And as we inhale and we feel that effect, know that we are fully supported to really open up to the fullest expression of who we are. That these are the times. Take a breath all the way down into our wombs, all the way down into the soles of our feet. And I'm sending so much love and gratitude to each of you for being here, for taking the time to be here, and for giving me the opportunity to share what is so near and dear to my heart. So thank you all so very much, okay? If you have any questions about the course at all, just let me know. Sending all love and light to all of you. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye, everyone.